Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is Saturday, October 22nd. I'm your host, John June, and of course, this guy to my left, Greg Penniman, aka G Money. What's good?
What's goody, man? Chilling Saturday, beautiful Saturday morning. Had that entertaining Thursday night game, so that was cool. Looking forward to this week, for sure. Got a lot of storylines. Week 7 teams are starting to, really separate themselves if they're good or not. I mean, but there's been a lot of parity this year, other than any other year. I feel like it's been wild this year.
Or if you ask Tom Brady, he would tell you there's been a lot of bad football this year.
Because he's not winning.
Yeah, because he's not winning, right?
Yeah.
He's talking about on his own football team. There's been a lot of bad football. But we gotta obviously we're gonna talk about Thursday Night Football. We were recording during the Thursday night game, which we typically don't do, or we haven't done this year, but I guess that was a little cool for people that watched and listened, heard our live reactions to some of the things that were going on. But one of the things we did not get to react to because it happened during happened during the game, was announced live during the broadcast, broken by Adam Schefter, was Christian McCaffrey, the Carolina Panthers running back, was traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, Greg, we broke down the Carolina game on Thursday. We talked about CMC being the only guy from that team that we would want to play. I talked about DJ Moore because, you got to go back and listen to the compelling argument that I made, but not compelling enough for Greg to agree. But Greg, just going back, what is your overall reaction to how this impacts maybe the Carolina Panthers? And obviously, we're going to talk about the Kansas City and San Fran game, but just your overall thoughts on a whole of how it might impact, the 49ers and the players currently on that roster.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, this is probably the last week you could use Jeff Wilson Jr. And that's a fact for sure. I mean, as far as being a top RB2 value, they traded Christian McCaffrey to go for a championship run. I do like it for McCaffrey in the sense that he was probably going to get more touchdown opportunities, a lot more touchdown opportunities. But his fantasy stats and everything weren't made off touchdowns, so that might be going down like the volume per se, because he was the clear best player on his team in Carolina. I mean, you got Debo still feed, you got Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. So the receptions possibly can go down. As far as the outrageous usage could go down, but I think it'll help in his touchdown opportunity. I still see him as RB1 for sure. As far as the Panthers, Triple Hubbard is now the starting running back now, I believe. So
it's either Hubbard or Deontay Foreman. Steve
Gotcha.
Wilkes hasn't announced it yet, but it's supposed to be between one of those two guys. Last week, Foreman did have more rush attempts than Triple Hubbard, but I think we're looking at a committee in what's probably a bad offense.
Yeah, bad team, bad offense. I mean, maybe in the bye weeks you can make an argument for starting the hotter running back, but other than that, this team now has zero fantasy relevance. Maybe some unless you maybe some DJ Moore if they just only throw it to him. But yeah, it's tough now. But I'm excited for the 49ers for sure as a team as a whole. Should be fun to see what Kyle Shanahan does with Christian McCaffrey. That's the best part.
Yeah, the 49ers in this deal give up a 2, a 3, a 4, and I believe a 5 next year. So 4 draft picks to get Christian McCaffrey, who's under contract till 2025. So probably a poor long-term, probably a poor deal for them long term in terms of the 49ers. That's a lot of assets to give up for a running back. But in the short term, you know, Christian McCaffrey upgrades that offense significantly. I feel like in terms of what you had said about Kyle Shanahan and the way he is able to utilize players with versatile skill sets like a Christian McCaffrey, like a Deebo Samuel, like a Kyle Juszczyk, guys that you can line up in multiple different spots and do different things. And so I agree with what you were saying. Like the volume for McCaffrey will go down. I think Deebo Samuel probably starts playing more of that receiver. Like, you know, he's going to have probably less of those rush attempts now because McCaffrey can effectively do a lot of the things that Deebo can do. Right.
Yeah, yeah, he's just they're the same. Yeah,
They're very,
like
very,
Christian
very
McCaffrey
similar.
routes, wide receiver routes in the slot. I mean, I hope they put him in there. That'd be great to see too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're going to do a lot of
yeah,
stuff. So I think, you know, the touchdown opportunities, like you said, will be there for him. But overall, the volume should be down. In terms of Carolina, um, yeah, it's really rough. Like we could run and pick up Foreman or Chuba Hubbard, but like we were saying, bad offense, bad team, not really gonna have a lead. Um, PJ Walker is starting quarterback right now, but then it'll be Baker Mayfield and potentially Sam Darnold. I think DJ Moore is the only thing that, from a fantasy standpoint, and maybe this helps more in a way because he's the only person that they have, and you can't like the quarterbacks won't be able to just lean on Christian McCaffrey as the crutch that he was for them. I'm not saying I'm buying DJ Moore or but if he's out there on waivers, it's possible. Uh, I might scoop him up and just see kind of what happens this first week without him.
yeah. Best case scenario is you hope Brandon Cook. I mean, yeah, DJ Moore becomes like the Brandon Cooks of last year on a horrible team. Literally the only option to
Saying
do.
like a
Yeah,
35% target share every
yeah.
week.
That's what we need. Like
Yeah,
that's perfect. Like you can get that.
yeah. That boy Caden 5 coming through saying what up. What's up, Caden?
You
Appreciate you. All right, let's talk about Thursday night football, Greg, because we had an interesting Thursday night football game where the Arizona Cardinals won by a score of 42-34 against the New Orleans Saints. Greg, can I just tell you a story really quick?
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there Thursday night football. I got a bunch of players on by, right? Like Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Dallas Goedert. I'm hurting. Like everybody's
Yeah.
on by. Like 2-quarterback league. So I got Kyler Murray in there, and I'm staring at Zach Wilson, and I like really don't want to start Zach Wilson like against Denver. Like I'm really not trying to do it. So like 7:40 kickoff or 7:40, like they announced the actives and actives, and then they say Andy Dalton might be the starting quarterback. So go ahead, scoop up Andy Dalton. My tight end stream of the week that we talked about, and we'll talk about it a
Mm-hmm.
little bit later as well.
Mm-hmm.
Went and scooped him up as well, and Jawan Johnson. Put them both in my lineup, and first play of the game, Andy Dalton drops that first drive drops that beautiful dime down the middle of the field, and I'm sitting there thinking like I'm a genius, and then we get to halftime or right before the half, and this dude throws 2 pick sixes. What was it? He throws 1 interception in the red zone and then throws back-to-back pick sixes, and I'm just like, oh man, but when we got the second pick six, what I didn't realize was like at halftime that became instant garbage time because they were
Yeah.
just down.
Yeah. And
And
crazy.
turns out Andy Dalton had himself a day, 4
He did.
touchdown passes over 300, and I believe it was 40 yards passed, 361 yards
61.
passing,
Yeah.
4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Taysom Hill even got his rushing or his touchdown reception. That was his first on the year. Also involved as a passer a little bit, but I think the others on the other side, the Arizona offense looked much better with DeAndre Hopkins in the lineup. Greg, what was your takeaways from this Thursday night football game?
Yeah, that offense become real simple. It was literally, I mean, he got 14 targets. The next highest person got 2 on the team. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Yo, wide receiver 1 status, slide right in and just dominate the game plan pretty much. Like, it was throw to D Hop, especially with you know, I don't know if Marshawn Lattimore ended up playing or if he did,
No,
but
he didn't. Marshawn Lattimore was out, and then
yeah,
Bradley Roby, who was the next best corner, he was out. So they were
yeah,
playing on their like
yeah,
their top 4 corners. I think were out. We're playing 2
yeah,
rookies. It was not
yeah.
good.
That helped. So D Hop killed, got those yardages we were talking about. That was couldn't get that touchdown, but it's all good. Benjamin ran really well, very well actually. 92 yards on 12 carries is excellent. So they may have a skeleton now at this point. With and D Hop. Yeah.
Benjamin, right? It made me think of your theory, right? Like where the backup running back gets that first
Oh yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, yeah. Never. It's the second week. Always. It's always the second week.
Yeah, I
And
was
that.
thinking about that as I'm watching just rip off these runs. I'm like, Greg with it's always the second week. They underwhelm in that first week, and then the second week it's like, yeah, no, it's like their legs stop trembling back
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, and shout out to probably got to be the leading candidate for touchdowns or nah. I mean, Juwan Johnson, yo, 5 receptions, yo, 2 of them touchdowns, yo, 32
Hey
yards,
man,
yo.
yeah, shout out to my stream of the week. I won't hit the button until we see where his final finishes because we got
You
Travis
gotta
Kelsey
add the S, touchdowns or nah,
touchdowns or not.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, that was great. Five was it 5? I think he had 4 catches,
5 catches, yeah.
5 catches. How many targets? I can't find a stat line. Oh, 5 catches on
5.
5 targets for
Yeah.
32 yards and 2 touchdowns. My tight end stream of the week, who,
What's up?
yeah, I mean, when you pick up a tight end and he can score 20 points, like you feel pretty good
Oh yeah,
about that.
you feeling real good on Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, I had Kyler, Juwan Johnson, Andy Dalton all in the same lineup. Like
Oh, you're
I
good,
feel
yo.
really good right now. Like my
Did
whole
the
team
same
is on
game
bye.
FanDuel lineup? That would have been perfect right there.
But Keontae Ingram was also involved. His day would have looked better if he had the 2 rushing touchdowns, but I think he's a name to watch because he looked like he had some juice, especially on some of those receptions. Um, we don't know. James Conner was questionable, was a game time decision, was held out. So he could come back, but is it possible that he's been Wally pipped here?
Yeah, I feel like with the timing too, now they're starting to win some games. It's here. Like, he's not like a stud RB1 that was starting already. And Benjamin's got some youth to him. Like, I feel like this would be a transition, not a hard transition when he comes back, but I think, I mean, I'll be happier to roster Benjamin right now than Connor, even when they're both healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Eno's definitely earned the right to play more snaps, if at least not be the lead guy. All right, I think we got to talk about some injuries potentially. Do we have to talk about injuries? I'm trying to think if there's anything that changed between yesterday and today for games that we are not going to talk about today. Mark Andrews returned to a full practice on Friday, so it looks like he's possibly a go. J.K. Dobbins ended up getting arthroscopic knee surgery, so he's
Yeah.
out. So
Oh,
Kenyon Drake, Gus Edwards may be active this game, as well as Justice Hill, who actually was playing really well before going down with a hamstring injury. Returned to a full practice, is not on the injury report. Average 6 yards a carry before leaving with injury. So we could end up with a 3-man rotation between Kenyon Drake, Justice Hill,
yeah,
and Gus
that's worst
Edwards.
case scenario.
That
Literally
is
worst case scenario.
the worst case scenario. Especially if you were banking on maybe starting Kenyon Drake. Like DeAndre Swift seems to be highly questionable. It seemed like he was coming back and being ready to play, but it seems like it's still up in the air whether he'll play or not. So Kenyon Drake was somebody that I was going to pivot to in that situation, but seems like this thing is really becoming a a 3-man rotation. If Gus is not active, are you willing to play Kenyon Drake
With
in the matchup against Cleveland?
in bye weeks, like you might be forced to do that. At like a high in RB3, RB2 upside, I think with a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. All right, let's move on. If I remember anything, we'll bring it back. Obviously, we broke down all the 1 p.m. games on Thursday in our game previews part 1. So if you want to catch that, just make sure you can always go back and listen to those or watch it on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Just make sure you comment, like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. All right, let's talk about these 4 p.m. games, these primetime games, Greg. The first game we've got to talk about is the 1-3-1 Houston Texans taking off, traveling to Las Vegas to take on the 1-4 Las Vegas Raiders. This game has a 45.5 point total, where the Las Vegas Raiders are 7-point favorites. Both teams, coincidentally enough, both coming off of the bye week, so both refreshed, had extra time to prepare for one another. So no team really has, a true advantage from a rest sense. Houston traveling to Las Vegas, which actually not that far of a distance to travel. So anyway, this game is in a dome. Houston tight end Brevin Jordan is returning from an ankle injury. Las Vegas Raider Darren Waller, the tight end, is out of this game. Not good. He injured this hamstring in the Monday night game before the bye and had basically the whole whole week to rest and prepare, or get ready for this game, and he is out for this with this hamstring injury, so that's definitely serious. And then wide receiver Hunter Renfrow, he's questionable with a hip injury, picked up this hip injury sometime after the bye, so that can't be good. And then wide receiver Mac Hollins, he's questionable with the heel, also picked that up sometime after the bye. So Raiders seem to be missing some healthy pass catchers there. I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take Las Vegas to cover. I will take Las Vegas to win. For Houston, Davis Mills is my stream of the week. Think he can finish as a QB1 potentially. Damian Pierce, he's an RB1 option. The matchup is not great, but he should see enough volume there and some touchdown opportunity to make you want to put him in your lineup. And then I really do like both Cooks and Nico Collins in the pass game. I'm leaning more Collins. I know Cooks is the name and probably the better pedigree, but Collins is a talented player, and he's been more efficient and productive these last few weeks, seeing, a high yards per reception. So I do lean Collins for the higher upside. And then for Las Vegas, Josh Jacobs, I mean, he's got to be like the RB1 on the week this week. Yes. And then Devontae Adams, I mean, he should see 50% of the team targets with no Darren Waller, a banged up Hunter Renfrow, and a banged up Mac Hollins.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the over. I'm taking Houston to cover, Houston to win. I think they just find a way. Raiders defense, both defenses are really bad, but the Raiders defense is also, very bad. I think I agree with you. Davis Mills has a lot of prospect here for him to do well. So I think he's definitely streamable. Damian Pierce, I agree with you. RB1. Nico Collins and Brendan Cooks to time with Davis Mills' success should have success as well. So I think they're both got some wide receiver 2 upside. I think I would, pretty much put them in that low end wide receiver 2 category, but I think this could be a high scoring game. I think it'll be one of those wild games at the end. On the Raiders side, Josh Jacobs has been very money this year. I mean, he's probably the best value at running back so far this season, along with maybe Damian Pierce. But like people really, we slept on Josh Jacobs here as far as he's getting pass catches, getting a lot of volume. He's doing all the work right now on a bad team, which is the most impressive part. Devontae Adams gonna continue to dominate as long as he's not pushing any cameraman. This man doesn't matter. He's gonna. There's no stopping Devontae in a cake matchup. So yeah, continue to play him. No Darren Waller, so yeah, it's a pretty simple matchup.
Yeah, I mean, again, if he doesn't see like 40 to 50% target share in this game alone, something's broken.
He should have Jefferson numbers by like the first half. Like, there's no one else to throw to.
No. And then yeah, Josh Jacobs, I just want to piggyback off what you said. Like, yeah, he's absolutely the best value at the running back position,
Yeah.
I'd say. And he's somebody I was entirely off of, like, because he, playing in the Hall of Fame game, Josh McDaniels' history with running backs, the fact that he's in the last year of his contract, they didn't pick up the 5th-year option. Yeah, he's balling right now though.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
All right, let's move on to the next matchup. And I was tilting really hard yesterday when before we even talked about this matchup. Again, the 4-2 New York Jets travel to Denver to take on the 2-4 Denver Broncos. This line has shifted to a pick 'em essentially.
Ooh.
But the way we had it prior to this show was FanDuel Sportsbook 39.5 and the over under 39.5, and then the Denver Broncos are 2.5-point favorites. In terms of the weather, there is potential rain in this game. In terms of injuries for Denver, Russell Wilson is questionable with a hamstring, limited participant, and will be a game time decision. Defense tackle DJ Jones, he's questionable with an ankle. Linebacker Josie Jewell is questionable with a knee. And for the Jets, defensive end Jermaine Johnson, he is out of this game with a high ankle sprain. And then New York Jets wide receiver Elijah Moore, who was frustrated with his lack of involvement in the offense for a 4-2 football team that is running the hell out of the football.
Timing couldn't have been any worse. Like,
what? Oh my God, man!
He did not read the room. That's all you had to do was just read the room one time. Maybe 2-4. I don't know, like 1-4, 3, maybe 4-2. The Jets' best start, and you gotta say this, like read. Yeah, this is read the room. That's all. It's tough, man. That's fine. It just sounds so selfish. I mean, it is selfish.
I mean, not even just read the room. Look at the schedule. You play the Bills next. Like, you play the New England Patriots and then the Bills. Like, you're not gonna you're not gonna play the Bills and not have to throw the football. You're gonna have to throw the football.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, and again, I could talk about this all day. This is not the show for this.
Yeah.
But the Jets are somewhat at fault for not getting him involved. I've been saying that. They could do more. It's like some of these jet sweeps that they do to Barrios. Like, they could do some of that stuff to get on the football. But like Hollywood Brown last year played an entire season, was irked about his role, was irked about the offense, but we never knew a word about it.
Yeah, because Baltimore's, a playoff team, or they're just doing, they're a good team. Yeah.
Right? But like, it was kept in house. Be professional.
Yeah, that too.
Do your job.
Yeah.
Like,
you could literally just go into his Salah's. Salah looks like the most approachable guy of all time. Like, you just go up to him and be like, "Yo, coach, let me, can I just get the rock?" That's all. That's it.
Right. I just want the football, coach. Like, I just want to help. Like, I just want to feel like I'm contributing to these wins. Like, that's it.
And the time he did that to tweet, he could literally did that right after the game and went into the locker room and just be like, "Yo, that's it."
Okay. Anyway, let's take this question. Calm me down a little bit. George Cook is asking, should we start Cooks? I'm assuming that is Brandon Cooks or Dobbs in a half PPR.
Both have really good matchups.
Both are in really good spots. There is some potential rain in Washington. Let me just see what I have. Let me just confirm my projections really quick.
I think I'm gonna go Brandon Cooks though.
I think that's where I'm leaning. Let me just Yeah, I have. I have Cooks slightly higher. So yeah, I would lean Cooks in this situation. Our big play is really what you're looking for. And Cooks will be trailing against Las Vegas. The matchup is good. The Raiders secondary is not great. I saw really all you really need is like a 50-yard catch from Brandon Cooks to really make your day in this situation.
Yeah. And I mean,
All
and he cost himself a game now. Now he can't play. Like now he's not getting the ball at all.
right. That's enough. Honestly, especially this game, like against Denver, where Patrick Surtain like is probably gonna, I don't know, go pay attention to like Garrett Wilson
Yeah,
or Corey Davis. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just really frustrating.
yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the game. Greg, where are you leaning with this game here?
Yeah, I'm not taking this as a letdown for the Jets, even though I'm for the Giants, but I'm taking the under, taking the Jets to cover, the Jets to win. On their side, Brees Hall, he's a RB1. Continue to play him as such. They're just feed the Brees, as John says. Great title. As far as the receivers, yeah, it'll be a little tough. Surtain is probably gonna see a lot of Garrett Wilson or Corey Davis. I think he'll probably would one line up on Wilson. So I think both of them get a little downgrade. I think they're both in wide receiver 3 category. I think Wilson also has always has the higher upside, but Corey Davis could get the safe PPR floor. So I think I see him as wide receiver 3s. Tyler Conklin's dead to me, and then on the other side, it's mostly just the two receivers really. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are both also in that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 category. Cortland Sutton has the more upside right now. I think he's just been getting a lot of targets from Russell Wilson. But yeah, those are the only two I'm looking at as far as playable starts.
Yeah, I am. I was tilting really hard yesterday. And I was prepared to come in here and go under Denver.
Mm.
But I have recovered.
This is not the letdown for y'all. Yo. Y'all got this, yo.
The baby Jets, they don't know any better. I'm going under the Jets and the Jets.
There you go.
Mainly because that Denver offensive line will not be able to handle Quentin Williams and this Jets defensive line. And Russell Wilson's already on a bad hamstring. He probably shouldn't even be playing in this game anyway. So yeah, give me the Jets. In terms of the matchup here for Denver, I really feel like it's really simple. Just the game in general. Like in terms of Denver, Cortland Sutton, I feel like you kind of have to play him because of the targets.
Yeah.
The matchup is not great. The Jets are obviously not a great matchup for wide receivers, but they are a great matchup for the tight end position. And Greg Dulcich, the rookie, was involved last week in terms of routes. He did catch a touchdown, 2 catches over 40 receiving yards and a touchdown. I think he can make a play in this game as well. And be, it seems like teams don't want to go to they don't want to throw to the outside against the Jets. They prefer to throw against the linebackers and the safeties. Makes a ton of sense. So Greg Dulcich, I think he could, probably go in your lineup. And then on the Jets side, Brees Hall. I mean, we'll talk about him a little bit later, but you could probably get away with playing Michael Carter in a pinch. Denver allows the 4th most fantasy points for running back position over these last 3 weeks, and I don't want to really play anyone else from this game other than a defense.
Yeah,
Like
not just defense. Yeah. They
or even the Broncos defense. Like I would play them
yeah.
too. I mean, Zach Wilson, gonna have to throw the football into tight windows and could lead to interceptions. So That boy Caden says, I started Rondale Moore over Alec Pierce thinking he was a breakout player. Disappointed, and he got me 4 points on one catch. Honestly, I thought that Rondale Moore would have a good day yesterday, but um, all those targets just seem to go to D Hop. I think when Robbie Anderson, though, gets more acclimated, Rondale Moore will shift to his preferred place in the slot, which will allow him to be more productive there. I don't think him as an outside receiver, running go routes and catching fades, although he almost caught a fade, but he interfered and then bobbled it. But anyway,
I do like Alec Pierce always though, like in general. Big fan of him as far as fantasy and his upside.
yeah, no, Alec Pierce is definitely has a ton of upside.
Yeah.
But speaking specifically to this week, I if you had asked me, knowing how Rondale Moore did, if you had asked me, hindsight's obviously 2020, I would have said Rondale Moore over Alec Pierce in a full PPR league. Let's move on to the game. The next game here. Interesting. Oh, I'm missing one, apparently. We'll talk about this game and then we'll go back. The 4-2 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to San Francisco to take on a 3-3 San Francisco 49ers. This game has a 48.5 point total where the Kansas City Chiefs are 3-point favorites, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. Weather is okay in this game. For Kansas City, Rashad Fenton is out with a hamstring. For San Francisco, Eric Armstead, the defensive lineman, is out. Safety Talanoa Hufanga was DNP with a concussion, probably questionable for this game. And then Travarius Ward was DNP with a groin, also probably highly questionable for this game. And then Christian McCaffrey, I don't know, man. Kyle Shanahan seems like he's playing just a little bit of gamesmanship here, talking about, I don't know, might not be able to get him in the game in time. I don't think you'd make this trade like Thursday before you play the Chiefs and you don't play them.
But I feel it's tough. It's so tough because
I'm not saying he's gonna come in here and take the full workload, but you put him on the field, just like the attention that he requires from the opposing offense or the opposing defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if he does, we'll talk. All right, I'm gonna take the over here. I'm taking Kansas City to cover, taking Kansas City to win the game. For Kansas City, Mahomes is a quarterback 1, Travis Kelce tight end 1, Juju Smith-Schuster a wide receiver 2 or 3, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The fall from grace has finally came. The regression has hit.
Math works.
The math is now mathing.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is an RB3. For San Francisco, Jimmy G got to be a quarterback 1 in this matchup here. Greg made him his stream of the week. I so badly wanted to make him my start of the week. I was prepared to do it, but then Greg had to gobble him up early on for a stream. Deebo Samuel, a wide receiver 1. Christian McCaffrey, I think he's got to be like an RB2. Like an RB2. He's going to be on the field, might get some receptions, might make a big play here or there. Might even get in the end zone. So I want to say RB1, but that very well, given the circumstances, could be unreasonable. So RB2 is probably where I'll settle at. And then Brandon Ayuk, high-end wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. George Kittle, a tight end 1. And Jeff Wilson Jr., thank you for your service.
This is the last game, yo. This is it right here. I'm gonna take the over. Kansas City to cover and Kansas City to win. On the Chiefs side, I agree with you. Patty, man, going to continue to roll. Kelce, tight end 1, the tight end 1 every week. Juju Smith-Schuster, glad to see him, get going. With the team, we want to see that at least one pass wide receiver on the outside, try to, take control of this offense, get some fantasy relevance. So I think Juju's definitely in the flex conversation now. Solid flex in the high scoring game. As far as the running backs, yes, it's hard to trust any of them. Clyde is, I say, RB3 though. Just you're banking on what he's been doing early in the year, just getting that touchdown. So on the 49ers side, Garoppolo, smash matchup for him. Got to play him. Kansas City just getting more injuries in the secondary, and that's a smash spot for the receivers as well. You know, you could have took Debo or Brandon Ayuk as the start of the week as well. Like they're in both prime spots. They should go. They should go hard. I think they're both wide receiver ones. Upside in this one, and yeah, the running backs. Oh, George Kittle, tight end one as well. But the running backs is interesting. I really don't know what he's gonna do. I mean, you know, coaches are weird, man. They say one thing and then he won't play one snap, like, or he could. I mean, it is a Super Bowl revenge game for the Niners right here. So
They were playing that game last night on NFL Network, actually.
oh, word, great
It's
game, great
crazy
game.
to think that the Niners had a 10-point lead
Yep,
with like 7 minutes left in that game and
yep.
lost.
And then the Tyreek Hill play happened, and then
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah. I know. Yeah, and they had a 10-point lead last year to get to the Super Bowl against the Rams, I think, too. I think so. Yeah.
Niners giving up 10-point leads. So basically, what we know is that tomorrow, when the Niners go up by 10, hammer Chiefs money line.
Well, inter team here up by 10 versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs are coming back, yo.
Yeah,
they're coming back.
Oh, I mean, when they play the Raiders,
Yeah, yo, you're on it, yo. Especially first quarter early, yeah, that's what you want, man. That's what you want. I think I'm still giving Jefferson Jr. RB3 value, and then McCaffrey also RB2, RB3. So I think they're both playable. You're just hoping that they both can make some plays. But next week, yeah, you're teeing off on McCaffrey. Oh, he's back to RB1 level. Jefferson Jr. is a bench candidate, if not drop candidate.
Yeah, he was dropped in one of my leagues immediately after the news.
Maybe for a safety net, but I mean, at least, yeah, Elijah Mitchell can go. One of the two is gonna go. Like they're all just, you know.
What imagine you've been holding on to Elijah Mitchell this whole time?
I know.
Oh,
Tough.
sorry. Anyway, let's move on to this next game here. The 3-3 Seattle Seahawks travel to LA to take on the 4-2 LA Chargers. Has a 4:25 kickoff, 51.5 point total in this game, where the LA Chargers are 6.5 point home favorites. In terms of weather, we're okay there. In terms of injuries, the Chargers will be without Josh Palmer, who is out with a concussion. Don Parham, who's also out with a concussion. Keenan Allen, questionable with a hamstring, will be a game time decision. Also did say that he's completely okay sitting out this week. The Chargers have a bye week next week. So do they sit him out and then let him get an extra week with the bye and come back the week after and just be good to go? That probably make a lot of sense. Joshua Kelly, the running back, he's also out with the knee injury. Dustin Hopkins, who, I mean, we didn't get the chance to talk about this, Greg, but this guy was kicking on Monday night, and like after every kick, he would just fall to the ground
in so much pain. Oh,
I'm just sitting there asking myself, is any kicker worth that? Like, because he didn't miss. He made all his kicks. It was a phenomenal performance. But now he's out 4 to 6 weeks with this injury.
Oh yeah, like it gets significantly worse. Yeah, every time you do a kick. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So like, is any kicker plus like what if he had missed, right? Like if he had missed any of those kicks, then like why do you have a kicker with a bad hamstring out there kicking in the first place? They were playing the Denver Broncos, who've been terrible, and that they were able to, I don't know, whatever. It just
kickers is weird. They if they have an injury, they really try the hardest to play through it. Like you see a lot of kickers with
because they get Wally Pipp like that.
Yeah, that's true. Unless you're like Harrison Butker, like
Justin Tucker.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that makes sense. Can't get hurt.
Oh man. Anyway, he's now out 4 to 6 weeks, so that's 4 to 6 weeks for him to potentially get his job taken. In terms of Seattle, in terms of injuries, wide receiver Tyler Lockett popped up on the injury report with a hamstring. He is questionable. Not good, Bob. Greg, what do you say with this game here?
I'm going to take the under. I'm gonna take Seattle to cover, but I'm gonna take the Chargers to win. Every time I feel like this, well, not every time, but last week, thought that Seattle Arizona game was gonna pop off. This game feels like it should pop off, but I'm not gonna get fooled this time.
Arizona's fault.
Yeah, it
100%
was Arizona.
Arizona's fault.
I'm not getting fooled this time. I'm gonna take the under. But on the Seattle side, Geno Smith, I think he's back to borderline QB1 level in a good matchup here. Kenneth Walker Jr. in a smash spot here. I think he has definitely start of the week potential in this one. As far as the receivers, I like DK Metcalf a lot. I think he's in that strong wide receiver 2 category. If he gets some touchdowns, some wide receiver 1 upside. Tyler Lockett, definitely not good that he got the late tag, but if he's able to go, I think you're playing him in this spot as an flex conversation wide receiver 2. And then on the Chargers side, you're starting Herbert, you're starting Eckler. I believe even if Keenan Allen's back, if Keenan Allen's back, you're starting him and Mike Williams as well. Those 2 guys, and Jared Everett is always in that low end tight end 1 value play. Yeah, no, this should be hopefully a good game. I need Herbert to get going. I need that game. I need that game. I haven't seen it yet though from Herbert.
Yeah, like I've been saying for weeks, this offense is broken without Keenan Allen. I am also taking the under. I'm also taking Seattle to cover. I'm also going to take the Chargers to win. 51.5 does sound like a lot of points. I do think we get more points, but still get the under. This game has an implied score of like 29-23, something like that. There's a decimal place missing somewhere, but anyway, could finish 27-24. That would be 51 points, which is under 51.5. Anyway, for the Chargers, Austin Eckler, he's back, man. He's back. He's a top 3 option.
Yes,
Herbert, I like him as a QB1 this week. Mike Williams should bounce back as a wide receiver 2. He is literally he's the epitome of boomer bust.
oh yeah. It's crazy. You just gotta accept it. And at this point,
you do.
Yeah,
at this point, you have to accept it. I just, we've always talked about this. We've talked about it for a couple of years now. If you are going to get a receiver like Mike Williams, make sure you pair him with another receiver, maybe like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, or somebody who is going to get targets and receptions every week, so that it can offset these Mike Williams down weeks.
I think this is looking like if he's going with the trend, this probably be another down week, and then he's supposed to boom for the next 2. Or it's 2-2 right now, so
2-2. Oh,
maybe go back to 1-1.
Week.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So maybe this is a good week then. Maybe
this is a good week. A boom,
yeah.
then goes on by, and it comes back, bust, boom. Okay,
bust, boom. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Gerald Everett, phenomenal spot here as well. He's tight end start of the week worthy this week. Keenan Allen, expecting him not to return this week, so not going to play him. Going to pivot somewhere else. But DeAndre Carter is an interesting name. We both like Herbert. If Mike Williams does have a down week, then there's no Josh Palmer. There's no Keenan Allen.
Been waiting for this though, for him to come on. I've been waiting for this guy to come on for the first half of the season, because there's so much opportunity there for that second receiver. But I just think it's it's not happening at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's more of a DFS thing if you want to expose it.
Okay. He returns yards though. He's punt returner too though.
Oh yeah, so maybe you get the double dip or something, right? Touchdown on offense, because touchdown on special teams. On the Seattle side, Geno Smith, I think he's a quarterback 1. Kenneth Walker, he's an RB1 option. The volume is fantastic. DK Metcalf, I like him this week, especially if Tyler Lockett is limited in any fashion at all.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Sunday Night Football. The 2-4 Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Miami to take on the 3-3 Miami Dolphins. This game has a 44.5 point total, where the Miami Dolphins are 7-point home favorites. Weather's okay in this game. In terms of injuries on the Miami side, cornerback Xavier Howard, he's questionable. Skylar Thompson is questionable with the thumb. Durham Smythe, questionable with the hamstring. Jalen Waddle, questionable with the shoulder. Emmanuel Ogba, he is a game time decision with a back injury. And then Tua Tagovailoa is expected to return this week, was cleared from the concussion protocol, will start in this game. So that's definitely, good news for the entire Miami offense.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of Pittsburgh and their injuries, Akila Witherspoon, the cornerback, is doubtful in this game. Steve Sims, the wide receiver, is out. James Pierre, the cornerback, is questionable. And then safety DeMonte Kazi was designated to return from the injured reserve after being out with an arm injury. In terms of this game here, I will take the under. I will take the Dolphins to cover. I'll take the Dolphins to win. For Miami, Tyreek Hill is about to go off in this game. Yeah, it's going to be a phenomenal matchup for him. Jalen Waddle is limited. He's a high-end wide receiver too, but Tyreek Hill should see a ton of targets and absolutely destroy in this game. Tua is a quarterback 1. Raheem Mostert, an RB2. He's taken off the injury report, so absolutely, want him in my lineup this week. Interesting stat that I heard on the Fantasy Footballers podcast is that the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the only two teams to not have a player go over 20 PPR points on the year. Let that sink in. Not playing Mike Gesicki this week. I don't care about last week. I don't care about the touchdown the week before or whatever it was. I'm not playing him until I need 3 in a row for Mike Gesicki. For Pittsburgh, though, Najee Harris, he's an RB2 just based on volume. Pat Freiermuth, he's a tight end 1 option. In terms of the wide receivers, over these last 3 weeks, George Pickens has a 23% target share to Deontay Johnson's 25% target share. And Pickens has been more productive with his targets than Johnson. I think you can play them both, but I would prefer Pickens.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Miami to cover, Miami to win. On Miami side, definitely good to see Tua back for sure. I think he's in a playable spot as well. So you can start him up with confidence. He was very hot before the injury. Not really trusting the running game. Maybe you could Marset in a pinch because of the bye weeks. I think he's an RB3. Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill's on pace to break the all-time, not all-time, but single season record right now for receiving yards in a season. So he's on to a very hot start. They continue to play him as a top 3 play wide receiver. Also Jalen Waddle as well. You're playing him, as wide receiver 1. And then on the Steelers side, I did definitely agree with you with the Pickens, but he seems like he has been doing well with Kenny Pickett as quarterback. Now that is Mitch Trubisky, I think it could be more Deontay Johnson a little bit again. So I'm a lean Deontay as a low end wide receiver 2. Pickens I think is flex value. Najee Harris RB2, and Pat Freiermuth is in the smash spot here.
Yeah, I'm a little higher on Mostert this week. Just I feel like Miami blows them out.
Yeah.
I don't know how they beat Tampa Bay last week, but this Pittsburgh team is not good. And Miami's been playing well with
home. That was it.
Yeah, probably. And Miami's been playing without Tua. I don't know. Let's move on to Monday Night Football. And if Thursday Night Football has to be good, I guess Monday Night Football has to be terrible. So
we have all 3: Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night to be all great. That'd be crazy.
That'd be great. Maybe in the playoffs.
Maybe in the playoffs with the 3 games to only play only 3 games.
This game we have the 2-4 Chicago Bears traveling to New England to take on the 3-3 New England Patriots. This game has a 39.5 point total, where the New England Patriots are 7.5 point home favorites. Belichick was cooking up in his weather machine, and we have potential rain in this game, just like he likes it in Gillette. A rain game in Gillette just screams like 38-0. Just
Either
like
that or 38 there. Yeah. It
uh,
does. It does.
for Chicago, they're okay in terms of injuries. For New England, Nelson Aguilar is questionable with a hamstring. Kendrick Bourne limited with a toe. Mac Jones limited with, I don't know. I got notification that he practiced in full on Friday, but then they're saying he's limited. Patriots doing Patriot things, but they got a bunch of other guys questionable there. Greg, where are you with this game?
Definitely taking the under. Definitely taking. I think I'm gonna take the Pats to cover and the Pats to win. I had the Bears covering because they seem to start off slow, but they'll make it a game at the end. But not at the end. New England. I'm gonna give the Pats the edge. On the New England side, it's continue to be Ramondre Stevens' season. Put that season at the end of his name, man, because he's gonna continue to keep rolling. I think he has RB1 value in this game. He's just been a good sleeper so far this year, for sure at the running back value, at running back position. As far as receivers, Jacoby Myers, playing him, and then Tyquan Thornton, I'm also playing him, I think, in some flex value, flex conversation. So those 2 receivers have some value. Hunter Henry as well, I think, is a streamable tight end that you can play. He's gaining some momentum. Tight end stream of the week. And then on the Bears side, it's just David Montgomery, and he's in a tough spot too. So I think you might have to even give him a downgrade to more of a low end RB2, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take New England to cover. I'm going to take New England to win.
Oh, New England covers himself.
Yes, cover the total by themselves. For Chicago, Darnell Mooney is a nice watch this week. I mean, he's seen a 33% target share to go along with a 14-yard ADOT. Has 16 yards, averages 16.5 yards per reception. New England allows the 7th most PPR points to the wide receiver position over their last 3 games. So, out of desperation, maybe I'm willing to play him. But again, with the rain, I don't even know if you can anymore at this point, actually. I don't really want to play anyone else on the Chicago side. Like New England is dominant against the running back position. They haven't even allowed, I heard this stat, I hope it's true, but they haven't allowed a rushing touchdown to a running back all season.
All right, who you benching Dave Montgomery for? Like, I mean, yeah, he's basically like, if this was a regular week, I think I'd bench him. But like week 1,
that is a fair question. Who are you going to bench him for?
Obviously, Ramondre obviously is better in this matchup.
Like, there's guys. You're right. There's guys with better matchups that I wouldn't necessarily play. Like Michael Carter has a better matchup, but he's not going to get the volume that David Montgomery is going to get, and David Montgomery might be involved as a receiver. So you're right. You could play Montgomery. I would be willing to play Montgomery.
I'm not excited. Definitely not.
No, not excited to do it. I would rather like pivot to because Montgomery's realistically probably a flex play, right? Like he's probably someone that you're playing in your flex. So like I would lean more to like an Alec Pierce over a Montgomery.
I agree.
Or like I know you're not as high on Wan'Dale Robinson, but I would play Wan'Dale Robinson over David Montgomery. So that's kind of where I view him. If you have no other running back options and you're just looking for a guy that's going to get volume, like David Montgomery or James Robinson.
James Robinson?
You don't even feel good about it. right? Like you don't even feel good about it.
No, I'm gonna try my best to get him in the flex, so then I can start a receiver over him for sure. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good idea. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. In terms of New England, I mean, Damian Harris, I didn't mention it. He returned to a full practice. Will probably play in this game. Even if he does play, the Bears allow the most rushing yards, period.
Oh
But they
wow.
allow the most rushing yards to running backs, over 700 rushing yards to the running back position thus far this season. Um, Ramondre Stevenson is definitely in play, even if he's at a 50% difference, or time split with Damian Harris, doesn't matter. Um, Again, willing to play Ramondre Stevenson there. But Jacoby Myers, wide receiver 2, PPR option for sure. Tyquan Thornton should be more involved as the season progresses. Definitely someone is probably a wide receiver 3 territory. I know we're starting right now. He's in our lineup over Corey Davis, who's in a tough matchup against Denver. So Hunter Henry has definitely been trending in the right direction. Has been more involved than Jonnu Smith, has turned it more out, has overcome a 50-50 split with him. So definitely like him as a streaming option. This is a good one. Chris Smith is asking CMC or Kenyon Drake.
Just the thought of benching CMC is wild because like if he goes off, I'll be way more upset if I bench CMC and he goes off, and then if I bench like Kenyon Drake and he does well. Like honestly, I feel
Yeah,
like
Kenyon Drake has a really good matchup. I feel like, yeah, I would have to start CMC. There's no way I'm not starting CMC.
yeah, this is like one of those like don't get cute type situations. Like
No,
uh
there's no way. Like
yeah.
I understand the concern, but this game against Kansas City, like they got to win this game. They got to score points. Like CMC got to be a part of it. If Gus Edwards is inactive though, and it's just Kenyon Drake and Justice Hill, that I might be more inclined to go Kenyon Drake in that situation. But like, why can't you start them both? Let's move on to starts of the week.
Yes, sir.
That time. Greg, quarterback start of the week. Hit me with it.
You already know Dak is back, so you gotta pull him in that lineup, and he's just talk about a good setup for him to come in and play the Detroit Lions. Like Jerry Jones set us up real nice. My quarterback's gonna be back, and he's gonna play really well. Detroit, one of the worst defense in the league, giving up most position, a lot of points to both the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers, everything. So Dak Prescott should be in line for a great day here, a multiple touchdown day. Over 250 I'm expecting from him as well. So he's a bona fide QB1.
I like that one. Christmas says he can't start them both because he has Brees Hall.
Feed the Brees.
Feed the Brees. That's a good problem to have. That's
Yes,
definitely
sir.
a good problem to have. I would say Brees and CMC. My quarterback start of the week. Going with Tua Tagovailoa against Pittsburgh. We haven't seen Tua in a while, but when we last saw him, he averaged 17.6 fantasy points over his last 3 games, which puts him at 8th amongst all quarterbacks over their 3 most recent games. He matches up against a Pittsburgh defense that over their last 3 games allows the 4th most fantasy points to the quarterback position. Again, I talked about Tyreek Hill having a big day. Tua is going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, good to see Tua back. I mean, he was really balling. I mean, being the breakout quarterback that we thought he'd be. So yeah, he's going to continue that.
Greg, your running back start of the week this week. What do we got?
Yeah, I'm going to Kenneth Walker Jr. the third. Sorry, going against the Chargers. A great matchup here for him, and a team that likes to run the ball. Over the last 2 weeks, since he became that starter, getting about 15 carries a game, averaging 92.5 rushing yards and a touchdown in both those games. So he's been playing very well at even with the low carries, he can get more carries, I think, because he's been very efficient running for 6.3 yards per game per carry. So he's been playing really well. I think Kenneth Walker is in a good spot here, RB1 value.
No, absolutely great spot for him. The Chargers allow the sixth most PPR points to the running back's position over the last 3 weeks. So Kenneth Walker's seen a ton of volume. I think this is great. My running back start of the week, Chris, you're gonna like this one. Brees Hall versus Denver.
Hmm.
Brees the Beast, feed the Brees. Over the last 3 games, he's seen 17, 18, and 20 rush attempts. He's averaging a 16% target share over the last 3 games. Denver allows a 21% target share to opposing running backs, the fourth most targets to the running back position, the fourth most receptions. Not to mention, over their last 3 games, Denver allows the fourth most fantasy points to the running back position. Brees is a top 5 play this week.
Yeah, man, he's been league winner value right now so far. So it's been good to see him, dog.
Yes, sir. Greg, your wide receiver start of the week this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Alan Lazard going against the Washington Commanders. Saying that Aaron Jones might be the only lock, but I think Alan Lazard is a lock in this matchup as well. Going against the Commanders, who have been horrible against wide receivers this season on the outside, and this is literally the only receiver that Aaron Rodgers has found the best chemistry with right now. Season high 9 targets last week, and coming off 3 straight games with at least 8 targets. So he's definitely finding some rhythm with Aaron Rodgers. And he's got 4 touchdowns on the year too as well. So he's been finding the end zone. If you're finding the end zone with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to keep going to you. So I think he gets another one in this one against a weak Commander secondary.
I like this one, Greg. And obviously you and I we had landed on the same wide receiver start of the week. So
Oh yeah,
you pivoted to this guy, but this wide receiver start of the week, who actually
smash spot.
is a smash spot if there's ever been one, goes along with your quarterback start of the week. That is CeeDee Lamb going up against Detroit. CeeDee gets his quarterback and Dak Prescott back. He's seeing a 37% target share over the last 3 weeks. And now the quality of those targets is about to get better. And it couldn't be coming at a better time in a matchup against Detroit, who, catch this, Greg, they allow the 9th most receptions per game to the wide receiver position. That's despite allowing the 21st most targets to the wide receiver position.
Dang, yo. Oh man, this catch rates are high on this team.
Yeah, that's
Yo,
because they
man.
allow a 67% catch rate to wide receivers, which is fourth at the position or fourth in the NFL, capped off with a yards per reception allowed of 13.6, which is the 9th most amongst NFL defenses against the wide receiver position. Oh, and by the way, over the last 3 weeks, they allow the 6th most
Oh.
fantasy PPR points to the position over their last 3 games. Yeah, I kind of like CD for a top 5 week this week.
Yeah. It's like you don't even have to throw a lot against them because your throws are gonna hit. Like all the throws are gonna be a big play or a touchdown. So that's why they're not getting a lot of targets. That's great. That's awesome.
Oh man, Greg, your tight end start of the week this week.
Liking my guy, tight end of the year, for tight end value, Pat Fryermuth going against Miami in this game. I mean, he's just been solid coming off a week where he didn't have a very good week against Buffalo, but that team didn't have a very good week before the bye. Before that, playing Buffalo and losing, getting blown out. But he's healthy now. He's back, and I think he's going to be very good in this matchup in Miami, who's not very good against the tight end. Uh, you know, Before that the game where he got hurt and he only had 2 catches, he was getting 7 targets a game. So he's a guy that's going to be playing well and playing consistently for the team.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I mean, this is a great matchup for him. And he's definitely someone who, despite all that's gone on in Pittsburgh, he's the main constant that you
Yeah,
could depend on. Someone who's been tough to depend on, but I'm gonna depend on him this week. My tight end start of the week is Kyle Pitts going up against Cincinnati. Wanted to do this against Tampa Bay a few weeks ago, but he sat out with the hamstring injury. But then last week he scored his first regular season NFL touchdown on American soil. So that was good for him. This, though, is all about the matchup and the game script. He's seeing a 29% target share over the last 3 weeks, which in this offense we talk about doesn't typically mean a lot, but he's averaging a 14.6 yards per reception to go along with his 14.6 yard A dot over his last 4 games, which That would put him second on the team. The Cincinnati offense should force Atlanta to keep pace. So that pie that we talked about should get a little bit larger. And the Bengals allow the fourth most targets and receptions per game to the tight end position. That's to go along with the fifth most yards per game, allowing 65 yards per game to opposing tight ends. Absolutely love Kyle Pitts this week. And I'm going to throw out Gerald Everett should definitely, his matchups against Seattle. I didn't go there. I thought Greg would. So I just want to make sure we mention his name as well.
Yeah, good play there for sure.
Which one, Kyle Pitts or Gerald Everett? Well,
Jared
no, I
Everett.
was asking. You said good play, so I was just asking.
Oh, both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris is asking us which three to start: Mike Evans, Alec Pierce, Cortland Sutton, or Hunter Renfrow. Well, I don't think Hunter Renfrow is playing. So.
Nah, it shouldn't be even. Even if he was.
Yeah. Chris, looks like you have a lot of good problems. Let's put it that way. You know, you're starting Breece Hall. You got to choose between CMC and Kenyon Drake this week. Mike Evans, Alec Pierce are both in really great spots. I think you're in good shape this week, Chris. All right, it's time to play one of our favorite games.
Ching.
Some Get Money, which is a head-to-head DFS contest on FanDuel. Snake style draft. Once a player is selected, they are removed from the player pool, and Greg gets the first pick in odds. So I kind of feel like I'm gonna get sniped here, but Greg, go ahead.
I mean, we already know what's gonna happen. I mean, gotta go CeeDee Lamb at 7,700 at the wide receiver position. After all those stats that you just ran off too, I mean, I feel super confident now. I mean, yeah, man, Detroit. That's all you have to say.
That kind of hurts because he was obviously in my lineup, and I wasn't expecting you to do that. I was expecting you to do something else, which is
weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it though. I'm going with Josh Jacobs, 8,600. It's a lot of money, but I'm gonna pay up. It's worth it.
Yep. I like that for sure. I'm gonna just get the stack now and go Dak Prescott at quarterback, 7,500. Quarterback start of the week. Hopefully a monster, stack.
Wow. I was real in here. I thought you were gonna cite me again, but you didn't. I'm going with Breece Hall, my running back start of the week, 7,600, going up against Denver.
Bet. At running back, my RB1. It's time, I'm taking my guy Saquon Barkley, 9,300. I'm paying up for it. But yeah, this is one of the, if we're doing redraft, he's probably going number 1 or number 2 right now. So yeah, I'll give me some Saquon.
For sure. Yeah, he would definitely go 1 or 2. I am gonna go with another running back. I'm going running back heavy this week. Give me Joe Mixon at 7,400 in my other running back slot. The matchup is good. He was in consideration for my start of the week, but I had to go with my guy Breece Hall. But Joe Mixon was a strong second for me, and apparently Greg liked him too.
Yep, definitely liked him. Joe Mixon, starting to try. The usage is always there, but now he's starting to trend up with his, as Clyde goes down with his negative regression. Joe Mixon getting his touchdown. So I'm gonna just make that quick pivot now to my running back start of the week, Kenneth Walker Jr., 7,300, going against the Chargers.
Nice. I'm gonna go with at wide receiver, guy who's getting healthier, T. Higgins, 7,100, going up against Atlanta.
All right. I mean, I'm gonna go with the initial player I had in there. I was like, oh, T. Higgins is here, but I'm gonna go Amari Cooper, wide receiver, going against Baltimore, 7,200.
That is a good one. I'm gonna go with my second wide receiver, DK Metcalf, 6,900, going up against the Los Angeles Chargers.
As my third wide receiver, I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk, 6,300, going against Kansas City.
That is a good one. For my defense, I'm going to go with the New York Jets at 4,300 because they're nice priced, a nice price range allows me to afford some of these high priced running backs.
Yeah, for sure. At my flex, I'm gonna go Brian Robinson, 6,100, going against Green Bay. I'm a believer.
That is definitely a nice matchup for Robinson. Speaking of believers, Wan'Dale Robinson will be my wide receiver, 5,500 going up against
Nice and cheap.
Jacksonville.
Like it. At tight end, I'm going real cheap. K. Dotton, you already know, 4,900, going against Carolina for Tampa Bay.
That is awesome because when this day started, when this draft started, K. Dotton was in my lineup. You picked CD Lamb, made me go down to DK Metcalf. So I was able to go up at tight end. I had an extra $800, and I'm affording David Njoku,
Okay.
who at 5,700.
And then that leaves me my defense. I'm going to Cincinnati Bengals. I believe my defense is extremely weak.
2 weeks in a
3,600.
row.
2 weeks in a row. Yeah. So, yeah, play them against Atlanta. Real cheap.
And my last pick is my quarterback. I only have 69.
Davis Mills?
No, it's not
Oh,
David
no.
Mills.
Daniel Jones?
It is Daniel Jones. I really like Daniel Jones this week. I mean the rushing floor he has. I'm getting a stack with Wan'Dale Robinson.
There you go. Stack. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
a giant stack here. So, Greg, why don't you read off your lineup to the people real quick?
At quarterback, got Dak is back. Dak Prescott, 7,500. Saquon Barkley is my RB1 at 9,300. Kenneth Walker III at my RB2 is 7,300. CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 1, is 7,700. Brandon Ayuk at my second wide receiver spot at 6,300. Mark Cooper, wide receiver 3 at 7,200. Cade Otton at my tight end position at 4,900. Brian Robinson Jr. going against Green Bay at 6,100, and the Cincinnati Bengals as my defense at 3,600.
Nice. I have a quarterback, Daniel Jones, 6,900. Joe Mixon, running back, 7,400. Breece Hall, my RB2 at 7,600. Wan'Dale Robinson at 5,500. DK Metcalf at 6,900. T. Higgins at 7,100. David Njoku going up against Baltimore at 5,700. Josh Jacobs in the smash spot against Houston going at 8,600. And then the New York Jets defense at 4,300 going up against Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos.
Love it. Love it for sure.
Yeah, man. Chris Smith is asking Hunter Renfrow not playing. We don't believe he's playing, Chris. Popped up on the injury report with a hip. Will be limited at best. Probably wouldn't play him.
Yeah. Yeah. And in general, like, even if he was, like, the numbers weren't really help him this year. He hasn't been a factor at all in fantasy like we saw last year.
Yeah, no, Derek Carr has eyes just for Devontae Adams, as he should. As he should. Everyone, we appreciate y'all. Good luck this weekend. Hope or just try to hit some home runs. Hopefully, maybe you're up. You started Juwan Johnson, kind of stream of the week. Maybe you have D-Hop and you've been waiting. Chris is asking us questions as we try to close out the show. What about starting Cooks? You should start Cooks. Start Brandon Cooks.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, absolutely. Mark, should I trade Debo for Amon-Ra or Debo for Waddle? I don't like these 1-for-1 trades. If you're gonna trade Debo, get Amon-Ra plus or Jalen Waddle plus. But like, are you afraid Debo is gonna get worse because it's TMC? I don't know.
Nah, I don't. Yeah, I think
I think if
they're
anything, it
all
probably
those guys
helps
are just
those
wide receiver ones.
side
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Because he was averaging 18 yards per reception last year before Elijah Mitchell went down with the injury and he was forced to play wide, running back. So maybe he gets some of these big plays again. I mean, he's the yak monster.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate the questions. We appreciate y'all vibing with us on a Saturday morning. Hopefully, we're dub this weekend. We'll come back in on Monday. We'll recap week 7 and the week that was. Until then, have a good one. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Yeah.